Right, let's be honest here, 12.0.5 was a complete and utter mess. To the point where Blizzard themselves came out and apologized for everything that's happened, the bugs, the issues, the game breaking flaws, and everything else. Like, to the point where Blizzard themselves came out and apologized, and the community fed back with both barrels, and realistically, they didn't hold back either. So here's the thing. 12.0.7 is currently going on in the PTR at the moment, and it looks like Blizzard listened. With this, we are going to get a brand new raid, 2 new worlds to explore, a power system that doesn't eat any of your gear slots, and a change to mythic raiding that we haven't seen in the entirety of playing World of Warcraft and its whole game's life cycle. So let's dive into it. So in this video, we're going to go through everything that's coming in patch 12.0.7, which is Revelations, what it is, what it means for you, and whether this is Blizzard actually course correcting or just putting a plaster on the bigger problem and hoping no one sees it. So let's dive into it. Right, before I kick off here, I think it's important to have a bit of backstory, because it is kind of important to contextualize what has happened over the last 2 patches, because it only makes sense unless you really understand what's happened. 12.0.5 dropped a few weeks ago and it was rough. Like, launch day bugs rough. Systems that didn't flat out work, the Void Forge bonus roll system, which basically gave the game's way of giving you a second chance at loot. It had duplicate rolls, there were some database errors and players getting refunded and then also charged again for using it. It was a mess, to be honest. And it really wasn't a small thing either. This wasn't a couple of hot fixes and move on. Blizzard actually put out a statement, said the launch didn't meet their standards, and they were aware that players had been frustrated. And that really doesn't happen that too often here. And then about a week later, class tuning went in, buffs, nerfs, a full pass through of basically every single spec, and you could tell they were scrambling to stabilize things here. And realistically, that was a good thing. We didn't really expect it, and it was a nice treat for the player base to have, because it actually felt like Blizzard were listening for once, which is always a good thing to see here. And that's the backdrop. 12.0.7 is essentially Blizzard's answer to all of that, and based on what's on the PTR right now, it may be time to forgive and forget, guys. I'm really sorry. So let's start with the headline feature here, which is Sporefall. Sporefall is a new raid dropping in 12.0.7, which sits in Hal'hadar, which if you've been playing through Midnight, you've already been familiar with this lovely area. Dark, spore-filled, fungal, bit grim, and with an aesthetic reminiscent of Zangara Marsh from Burning Crusade, it's one of my personal favourite areas in the current expansion. The raid has one boss. One. His name is Rotmire and he's a fungal giant, and honestly, the design of him looks absolutely disgusting, and it's in the best possible way. Even if he does a little bit look like a Tauren. Just have a look. Now I know what you're thinking here. One boss isn't really a full raid. And look, absolutely fair point, but here is the thing here. This isn't meant to be a full tier. Blizzard are clearly building a cadence with these new single boss raids. Drop one mid-patch, give some players something meaningful to do, and keep the content flowing between the bigger seasons here. And the way Sporefall is designed actually respects your time. This raid you can clear in about 30 minutes, you go in, you kill Rotmire, you get your loot, and you're done. For casual players, let's be honest here, a lot of us don't have 5 hours for a full raid night, which is actually generally useful and good on Blizzard for realizing this. And if you do have 5 hours, well, good on you. I just don't have the time to be flamed by missing a few items each week. So then let's talk about the loot itself. It's called Spore Infused Gear. And the important thing to call out here is Spore Infused drops at the maximum item level for its track with no upgrade currency required. None. Even on Mythic, you are walking out with an item level of 298 gear, which is the same ceiling as the gear you'd otherwise spend weeks grinding Ascendant Void cores to reach. 1 kill per week, max item level, chef kiss. There is also a quest tied to this raid. You get it automatically the first time you walk into the dungeon, and completing it gives you a nebulous void core, which is half of a bonus roll on any Season 1 content you want. Now that is something we haven't seen, and honestly, a great quality of life change. And if you want to know the clever bit, this quest can be done on any difficulty, including Raid Finder, so even if Mythic is completely out of your reach right now, you still get your Void Core just for showing up. And that is a very good ramp for casual players. Blizzard don't always get that right, they've got it right here and there, but this is a great way to play catch up without needing to spend extra hours at work or burn through that annual leave which we all know we're holding for the last Titan release. So, this is the bit I really think we need to spend some time on because I don't think enough people are talking about this enough. Sporefall is the first Mythic raid in World of Warcraft history to have a flexible roster. Yes, I'll say that again, a flexible roster of 15 to 25 players. For over a decade, we've been talking more than 10 years, Mythic raiding has meant exactly 20 players, not 19, not 21, 20. That number has been completely fixed since Mythic difficulty was introduced back in Warlords of Drania. And the guildies have absolutely bled over that number. And we've all been there and we've all heard these stories. Someone goes on holiday and you're suddenly a man down and the whole raid night's been cancelled. You're the best healer and gets tired of sitting on the bench because you've got 22 geared players and only 21 spots. The drama, the leaving, the guild falling apart, rebuilding, and guess what? You still don't have that roster spot. Sporefall is going to change that. Sporefall scales between 15 and 25 players on Mythic. Boss health, boss damage, ad counts, all of it automatically adjusts to the number of players that you're bringing in here. Now that is something to talk about. One raid, one night, one boss, but structurally it might be a very significant change that Blizzard has made to some high-end raiding in a number of years. Because if this works, and the PTR testing is showing that it definitely is working, this format could spread to the full tiers of raid as well. This would change the entire landscape of guild raiding for this game, and allow guilds, whatever the size, to do content together and not be stuck or gated by that magical 20 number. Moving on, because the raid isn't the only content we need to talk about in this 12.0.7, we're also getting 2 new zones. Both of them are accessible through a single portal in Voidstorm, and they rotate every few days, so only one of them is active in any given time. This is worth knowing before you go looking for the other one. The first is Nagtail. Nagtail is a fungal world, arcane rich, which means before whatever happened to it, it was a place steeped in magical energy. Think something like Quel'Thanas in that sense. A world that had its own identity and its own magic to back. And it's occupied by the Hal'hadar. The Hal'hadar are the new ethereal faction. And this is the first time we see them in WoW, because ethereals as a race have always been interesting because they're essentially beings of pure energy. Nomadic survivors of a world that got destroyed because of void corruption, and now here's a faction that appears to be fully void aligned. So what does that mean for the full Midnight story? Well, they're on Nagatail specifically for whatever the connections the void invasions of Quel'Thanas are relating to it. And I'll be doing a proper deep dive video on this in the future, but the short version is, it feels deliberate. A world that was once magical, now overrun with the pattern Midnight keeps returning to. And the second world that we've got is Val. Val is cold, icy, and it used to belong to the Burning Legion. Now it's under the control of something called the Dominar, specifically an Imperator called Pertinax. Former Legion territory being repurposed by Void adjacent forces. That is a thread that's definitely worth pulling on. The Legion spent thousands of years conquering and abandoning worlds, and now something is moving through the ruins they left behind here. Again, I'll be looking to do a full video or speculation on both these, but with the patch overview, we just know both these are zones in Midnight's ongoing Void arc. Both have their own world bosses and activities, and the lore is going to be pretty rich from both. And then we have the Omnium Folio. The new progression system coming in 12.0.7, and I'll be honest, the first thing I thought when I heard new system was what's happening with the Void Forge in 12.0.5 at launch. So let's dive into this. The Omnium Folio is actually a pretty clean and interesting idea here. It's a rune-based power system that you unlock through a quest line. Slots runes into passives with stat and ability boosts, and you'll customize it through weekly activities. 5 unlockable nodes with choices built in, so you'll be making actual decisions rather than just filling in a linear tree. And here's the key thing, it doesn't occupy a gear slot, which I think is honestly one of the smartest ideas Blizzard have had in a while. No gear slot, it's a pure bonus. You're not going to replace anything, you're not making a trade-off, it just adds power to on top of what you already have. After the mess with the Void Forge, where the bonus roll system actively frustrated people, a clean, no friction power system is exactly what Midnight needed mid-cycle. And just to top it off, we'll go through everything else that I think is worth knowing as part of 12.0.7. We have Turbulent Timeways. Turbulent Timeways is back. If you play during Dragonflight, you'll know this one. It's a rotating event that cycles through Dragonflight dungeons at a boosted difficulty with extra rewards, which is great for ult gearing, good for players who want something to do outside of the main content loop. There's also a pretty substantial UI pass in this patch. Damage meters are going to get reworked, smaller minimum window size, better PvP readability, persistent window details. The personal resource display is now actually customizable, which it should have been years ago. Raid frames are getting cleaner and more colors, nothing revolutionary here, but there's some real quality of life improvements that are going to add up and improve the player's life. And for a Blood Elf lore fans out there specifically, because I know you're out there, if you've been watching this channel, you probably are aware that Magister Umber and Grand Magister Romath are both back in 12.0.7 on a mission tied to the Sunstrider Omnium. And I'm not going to get into too much details here because I think it probably deserves its own video here, and I promise you, one is coming. So, is 12.0.7 Blizzard's course correcting after 12.0.5? Yes, I definitely think it is. Sporefall is a smart design, a 30-minute raid that gives casual players a real path to maximum item level gear without needing to commit to a full guild progression team. That is a philosophy shift and realistically just not a content drop. And it links very well to some other games out there that I can't recall, but there may be a Final Fantasy somewhere and there may be some chocobos as well. That's what I'm going to say for now. Then the Mythic Flex change is going to be historic, and if it goes well, it could reshape how raiding works in the game for years to come. The Void worlds are lore-rich and actually connected to the main story, which feels rather intentional than some filler content. And the Omnium Folio is a clean kind of low-friction system that should have been here from the start. Is this perfect? Not really, but the Void Forge is still a system that a lot of players have a bad taste in their mouth about. The 12.0.5 bugs damaged their trust in a way that a single patch is not going to fix. But 12.0.7 looks like a team that listened to the feedback and actually did something about it right now. And realistically, that's all that really matters here. Patch drops for this week are June 16th. Get your Rotmire kills early. That Void Core loot is going to be worth banking. If you want a deep dive on either of the new worlds coming out or Umbric and Romath lore in this patch, let me know. Both videos will be coming out soon, and if you found any of this interesting or helpful in the slightest, please feel free to subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know what you'd like to see next. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.